Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Around the Table GTA. If you are watching this on YouTube or anything that has likes or some type of upvote, please do that right away just so that we could get more traction. Recently, we've been getting put into the algorithm, so thank you guys for all of your support, and hopefully this grows bigger every single week. Either way, guys, today we are going to be talking about pain. I was dealing with something at work, and obviously someone was hurt about the situation. And through the back and forth, obviously there was pain from both parties and how they expressed that hurt, that pain, that frustration made me think of doing an episode on pain. And as first, we're going to think about, have you ever been hurt? I don't know anybody who hasn't been hurt. But the deeper part of that question is that when I say, have you ever been hurt? It depends what you've been through, or even like how old are you when you think of the term hurt. Because I think a majority of people who are older, if you ask someone, have you ever been hurt? They're going to talk about a relationship, or they're going to talk about a situation where they felt betrayed. But I think if you ask the child this, they would talk about, maybe getting their knee scraped or getting into a physical altercation. And that's the thing about pain, or even like being hurt. There's so many ways to describe it. There's so many ways to go through it. But at the same time, sometimes how we feel about something can be painful, but it could spring joy for other people, right? It made me think of a question where it's just like, have you ever hurt someone? And, when you think about yourself, you're obviously going to feel sad, or emotions that don't make you feel that great, because no one really likes being hurt. And even when I say that, it depends like what you're talking about. Some people like being hurt, if you know what I mean, right? But back to the main focus of the type of hurt that I'm talking about. It's just like, have you ever hurt someone? And like I said earlier, if you're talking to an older person, it's probably gonna be relationship wise when it comes to when they think about that question in general, right? But if you talk to a child, they'll probably talk about maybe a fight with their sibling or their best friend, or if they push someone. So now we're going a little bit more deeper. It's like, have you ever hurt someone on purpose? And I've been recently talking to a couple of friends, and even if you go back to some of my older episodes where I talk about this, my personality to an extent, and then at times I could say something and it hurts someone, but it's me being straightforward or just me being honest. But we have to remember that, and that's a lesson from an older episode, is that you carry a purpose. So sometimes when you say something, it's because it's coming from you, right? And it's the same thing when it comes to praise or love or whatever. Like if you go to work and your least favorite boss says good job, you're gonna be like, oh, screw you. But if your favorite boss says like good job, or it was like, we couldn't have done this without you, you feel a certain way, right? And that's also a reflection of pain, to the point where someone could praise you or tell you did something good or congratulate you, and you're just like, this person, right? And when we go back into pain, does pain always bring more pain? And that's a question that we have to think about, especially people who are sad all the time. And this is not to call you guys out. This is not to make you feel worse than you already do. But it's a thing where it's hard to it's hard to not feel what you're focusing on. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. Like, for example, someone who is single or who has been single for a long time, if they continue to just focus on that one thing that might be negative, because sometimes being single is better for you, um, they're going to be upset. They're always going to be constantly in pain, right? It's someone who's like a Debbie Downer, or like if you go back to the old school, like Care Bears, where we had Grumpy Bear and he was like just always upset, right? Or you could even say like Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street. And as I mentioned, more and more characters, you're going to start thinking of people or personalities or characters that are always upset. Um, and it's strange because some people like pain in that sense where they want to be a victim, they want to be upset, but it could also be kind of like a call for help for them, that they want other people to know that they're really dealing with something and they don't know how to get out of that thought process, right? And it made me think, how do we heal when scars never leave, right? And that's physical, that's mental, that's emotional, right? Unless you get amnesia, you're not going to forget what has happened to you. And even if you get amnesia or if you get dementia, there's still that possibility of you returning to that thought process or remembering that thing that happened, right? You could go into shock and completely forget who you are, where you are, and all the different things that happen. Like, I was talking to my friend's mother a long time ago, and they were talking about an event that happened in September. Oh wow, we're in September. 4 days from now. So I'm gonna drop this today. So 4 days from now, there was a huge event. You guys already know what I'm talking about. And my friend's mom was talking about how there was this lady who her job was to translate English from Spanish, and she was in such shock, pain from the event of that day, that she completely forgot how to speak English, even though that was her job. That's what she did for a living, translating from one language to another language. And they could not speak English because something just blocked everything. And I think that's the strange things about human beings, where we don't know what we can do, but at the same time we don't know what can stop us, and we don't even know what possibilities there could possibly be. And I think that's a special thing, especially when you're in pain. You have to remember that life is like the seasons that we go through. You don't know what season you're in, right? You don't know if it's your come up season or your glow up season or your season to embrace pain because it's not time for you, right? The next episode, I'm going to be talking about faith. So that is going to be a little bit deeper into these kind of scenarios. But just so that I don't piggyback off of that topic and completely ruin the next episode, we have to go back and see, how do we heal when scars never leave? And the thing is, that's kind of like a trick question, because it depends the type of person you are. You know, you could wear your scars as a badge of honor. You could let your scars bleed out and, you know, just stop thinking about everything. You could embrace the pain and become a different person. Some people, through their crazy experiences, they become better people, and that's the process of pain. you have to think about all the times that you took like a big fat L. Has it made you a better person? Has it made you the person that you are today? Are you happy with who you are today? And what can you do to make sure that you don't bring that pain along with you, especially as you navigate the rest of your life? You know, it's something that's deep, and I don't know, recently I've been thinking super deep. Mainly, I don't even know the main reason, but there's been a lot of things that's happened. And the funny thing is, it's not even like horrible things. Like, I've had a great summer, but I've ran into so many people, and it's been great. I know I said but, where it kind of sounded like it was going to be something horrible, but no, it's been great. And the weird thing is that I feel a type of pain because I feel like I kind of missed out doing all of this stuff, and I think a lot of people have, but it's a difference when like you're on nights for like 3.5 years, but also we had to deal with C-19 for a while as well too. So it's just weird that we could get so caught up or just involved in other things that we forget about the things that we like truly love, or the things that we enjoy so much. But with time, with responsibilities, with just how each and every one of us are changing throughout the years, it kind of just changes the dynamic of everything. I had to pause there. That wasn't necessarily for dramatics, but at the same time it was. But yeah, you know, we all deal with pain differently. And that gave me I'm not even gonna edit this out. That gave me another podcast episode idea. But either way, guys, like we deal with pain differently. And like I said before, like this season is kind of inspired by one album. But yeah, we all grieve differently, and sometimes people communicate differently too. So you need to know how to deal with others' grief as well. But at the same time, you don't want to push your grief on others. Like, you usually hear different stories where people are like, oh, I'll never date a person who starts with the letter this or is this name because they were like this when I was in a relationship, and blah, 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 blah. And it's not blah, 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 because obviously it's traumatic to the person. But at the same time, that trauma, that grief, that baggage there, if you don't overcome that, you're going to have that burden or push that burden onto someone who might really love you, but you're giving them a little bit too much and they don't want to deal with it. You know, a relationship is two parts, and you have to work with that other person, especially with your own griefs and their pain, their baggage, however you want to frame it. And that's just another part of life. It's kind of painful too, just to deal with it, because seeing someone you care about in so much pain or like in anxiety or stress, it pains you. Whether you show it or not, it does have a toll and a wear on people. And you could see it in certain couples. You could see it like physically, if like people are gaining weight or even like losing a lot of weight, or, you know, sunken eyes and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna pretty much end it here. How do you guys deal with your pain? How do you deal with your anguish? How do you deal with just life? But at the end of the day, through the pain, through the fire, through the stress, as long as we have our goals and the things that we want to achieve, we could overcome pretty much anything. Take care.